Welcome to the 100-Day Challenge Review webinar. My name is Jennifer Olney, and I am the Network Program Manager at Funders Together to End Homelessness. We are here live in Austin, and we just finished up the 100-Day Challenge Sustainability Review. Over the past 2 days, we've been hearing about the incredible success of these communities over their 100-day challenge periods and planning for how they're going to work moving forward. So today we're going to share with you some of the information about what a 100-day challenge is, how this round went, and some exciting opportunities moving forward. Finally, this presentation will be recorded, so if you are interested in viewing that later or sharing it with your colleagues, it will be on the Funders Together website. You will need to log in because this recording is for funders only, and if you have any trouble logging in, you can reach out to Lauren Bennett at lauren@funderstogether.org. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Megan Gibbard from Away Home America, and she is going to tell us a little bit about how we got here.
Wonderful. So hi folks, I'm Megan Gibbard with Away Home America, and I want to offer a little bit of an introduction to what is a 100-day challenge, and Megan Messer will mostly take that question, as well as what just happened in Austin and a little bit of why now. As many of you probably know, Away Home America is an initiative designed to build the national movement to end youth homelessness across the United States by 2020. We are made up of philanthropists, young people themselves, service providers in the community, advocates, and researchers, all pursuing this common goal to end youth homelessness together. I want to start by answering the question of why now, and I think that's the next slide. If we're ready for that. So philanthropy paired up with HHS, Health and Human Services, to jumpstart our collective efforts across the country. We know that there is a tremendous amount of innovative work happening all over the country on the issue of youth homelessness, and we anticipate the HUD demonstration, which should be announced, which 10 communities received that HUD demonstration any day now, literally. But 100 days ago, over 100 days ago, we knew that we wanted to jumpstart these efforts. We wanted to get started as communities were pulling together their application for the HUD demonstration, and as communities were really considering what type of innovative work they wanted to do together toward that 2020 goal of ending youth homelessness. The 100-Day Challenge helps us to not only innovate and provide support to communities to work together across systems, but the 100-Day Challenge also provides an opportunity to talk about this work differently. And Away Home America is, as an initiative that crosses across all of these sectors, really a great partner that can help to reframe the issue of youth homelessness in a way that resonates certainly with the incoming administration and Congress, but also that holds up all of the innovation happening in local communities. So Away Home America and all of the partners that make up this effort saw a 100-Day Challenge as not only a way to learn more and to learn quickly, but to talk differently about the issue of youth homelessness. And you'll see a person with a megaphone there. We really see Away Home America as an entity that can be the megaphone to all of the great work happening at the local level. Let's turn to the next slide. So I want to give you a little bit of a heads up of what themes that you may hear from communities here over the next bit of time. And just before I pass things over to Megan to talk about what that 100-Day Challenge actually is, some of the themes that I heard over the past day and a half is that all three communities, Austin, Cleveland, and LA, generated a by name list. Coordinated case management was happening to place young adults in housing all across these three communities. And different housing options were explored, things like sharing roommates in one home, emphasis on exiting to family and friends. Each community had a really strong focus on youth engagement, and all of these efforts led to a change in system and relationships that can't go back to the former way of working. All of the communities shared that truly their way of working together over the past 100 days opened up new relationships and changes to their system that won't be undone moving forward. So a little bit of a heads up of the themes that you'll hear, and I'll pass things over to Megan Messer.
Next slide. Perfect. Hi, my name is Megan Messer. I've been honored to be a part of this work. I work at the Rapid Results Institute, which is the organization that has pioneered the 100-Day Challenge method, which connects people to the power that they possess, and it helps them unleash their capabilities for collaboration, innovation, and execution. So why does this work? Because of the choreography. We help create a voice. We help give people a voice to the work they typically just do. It builds trust and connections among people who normally work in silos, and it gives people who are closest to the problems the confidence in their own solutions and abilities. So these are our key levers. Ultimately, these and levers that are context specific to the 100-day challenge help people closest to the problem demonstrate that they can achieve the impossible if they're given the chance. So how does this work? Next slide. This is a time frame of a 100-day challenge, and it's highlighting where we are right now in this current jumpstart effort. We're at the end and excited to share with you what has happened. But how did we get to this point? So the mechanisms for the 100-day challenge are deceptively simple and intuitive, but the magic is in how they are choreographed to enable the levers above. So what happened back in August was leaders in the community, in the 3 communities of Cleveland, Austin, and LA, got together to shape a results-oriented challenge and ask a team of frontline staff to take this on while they, the leaders, took a step back in a role of supporting and mentoring the 100-day team. So the team met in Austin in September for a 2-day launch workshop, and through carefully choreographed and facilitated processes, emerged with a commitment to an unreasonably but ambitious 100-day goal, an innovative plan to achieve this, and the governance and operation of the next 100 days. Sorry. Oh, am I back? Sure. So what happens at the launch workshop, the choreography that goes into it, allows the teams to commit to an unreasonably... Oh, I'm hearing feedback.
I'm sorry, everyone. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties.
All right. Okay. So over the course of the 100, honestly, technical difficulties, road bumps, that's part of the process. We're flexible. We keep going. It's no big deal. So on that note, the Rapid Results Coach supports the team over the 100 days and the leaders through coaching calls, connecting them to peer communities, on-site support during the journey, which you'll see day 50 is the midpoint review, and then coming back together for a sustainability workshop that we just finished here in Austin, followed by a what's next workshop with the system leaders, taking the proposals and suggestions of the community back to the system leaders. So all the support is geared towards advancing the levers that we outlined earlier. So, oops. Next slide. We're going to use the graphic of an iceberg, because what you can see above the waterline is an unreasonable goal, the right people on a 100-day team, and sort of this drumbeat of weekly meetings to work towards the goal. But there's this whole aspect of the work which is sort of below the waterline that allows for this team to achieve these goals. So on that note, I am going to hand it over to Austin.
Okay, hello, and welcome to Austin. We are here today, if we can have the next slide. My name is Nikki Paul. I'm the Director of Operations with Ending Community Homelessness Coalition, and I had the privilege to be a part of the 100-day team here in Austin, Texas, and I'm also joined by my co-team lead.
Hi, I'm Erin.
Hi, I'm Erin Whelan, and I'm the Division Director for Housing and Homeless Services at LifeWorks here in Austin. Okay, next slide. So just to give you a bit of sense of where we came from in Austin, at the beginning of our 100 days, our team got together and really wanted to identify what was the bold goal for us in terms of achieving something above and beyond what would be the status quo or business as usual around ending youth homelessness. And so for our team got together and decided that in 100 days that we would permanently house at least 50 youth and young adults aged 18 to 24 who are literally homeless, with at least 50 of those being have some involvement with foster care. And so here we are. I believe it's a day 116, and at that day 100 we actually achieved and exceeded our goal by actually permanently housing 53 youth and young adults, which was 103% of our goal. 40 of those of which were involved with foster care. Next slide.
As Nikki mentioned, we
achieved our goal. And as of today, we've actually housed 63 youth permanently. So it's super exciting the way we continue to progress through our goal and haven't stopped just because the 100 days have completed. Some other exciting things that happened in Austin during the 100-day challenge is we had formation of Austin's first Youth Advisory Council. It not only is a council that is made up of youth among the community with lived experience, but it also is one that informs the practice and policy across the COC here in Austin. We also implemented an assessment that is focused for transition-aged youth to specifically assess that age group and helping get an understanding of what is the best housing option for them so that we're able to place them with an appropriate housing situation. In addition to that, you know, in Austin, we just continue to think through the 100 days as thinking outside the box, taking risks, pushing ourselves to levels that we haven't before. Leaders allowed us to do that, which allowed us to exceed our goals. As you can see towards the end of the slide, one of the team members, as we were finishing the 100 days, said we just did everything differently. And that really just kind of embodies what Austin did as a community and how we felt during this 100-day challenge and how we will continue to move forward with this initiative in everything in which we do. Next slide.
So as you can imagine, that if we're taking on a challenge, there's certainly going to be some types of barriers and things that we really needed to overcome. And so some of our key challenges that we experienced in Austin was, one, how do we sustain this urgency and this commitment to this goal? You know, this is really corralling a whole lot of folks together and really asking them to go above and beyond what they're doing on their day-to-day. So in addition to that, we have competing priority populations. I think as many of us know, there's been a lot of work to end end veteran homelessness over the last few years, and Austin has done a ton of work around that. So understanding, I love the analogy of really spinning plates, and so we have this plate of our Veterans Initiative, and now here we are embarking on preventing and ending youth homelessness, and so how do we really sustain competing priorities? In addition, we really wanted to focus and center and support the voices of youth themselves who have lived experience of homelessness in this work in every level, every aspect of our challenge. And so that was a new thing for Austin. And there certainly has been youth groups and different involvements in the past, but as much as in the formal process of really creating a council. So a few of our strategies to address some of these challenges were, one, to really identify specific resources that were youth dedicated and really learn and understand further what is really out there in our community so that we can really leverage and utilize the best resources that we have and also identify where those gaps are. In addition to really learn from the national work that's happening across the country around what are some best practices, how do we best support youth that want to be involved in this work, how do we really center those voices in the policy and the practice and the planning aspect. So we're really trying to integrate that, and we formed our first Youth Advisory Council in Austin, and that'll be a part of our continuum of care work group structure. And so part of the past 2 days has been us really thinking through a little bit further, what is this going to look like, how do we operationalize really youth voices in this work. Next slide.
did this work? Why did this work? We talk about some of the things we've already mentioned, but just to build upon a few of those, I think the urgency of the 100-day challenge and also kind of the unknown, stepping into something we hadn't before, allowing community partners to think differently and to do things differently, and leaders to empower their staff and for our team to be able to make decisions quickly and move forward through the challenge. So that also led itself to, in Austin, there is, an agency that tends to work with, which is LifeWorks, with youth. What we did as a community during the 100-day challenge is we really said these youth are a part of our community, and it is important for all agencies that work with this age range to see them as their population, their clients. And so agencies that maybe hadn't seen these youth as their population or their clients in the past stepped up and started to serve these youth and young adults in a way in which we're able to wrap around them with a complete service package. In addition to that, just the diverse team experience and perspectives and a willingness to push each other, to challenge each other in a respectful way, and to have really hard conversations about things that maybe we hadn't before because that's the way it was. And we really made a decision in the beginning to do things not the way we've always done them. And so that really is why it worked for us here in Austin. Next slide. So what's next for Austin? The purpose of the last couple of days is really understanding how do we sustain this incredible achievement that with these strides that we've made in Austin. How do we really keep mobilizing and move this issue forward and take the next steps to really scale up this issue across our community. So one is, first is a priority for this coming year is to really develop and implement our coordinated community plan to prevent and end youth and young adult homelessness. We really want to and plan on prioritizing this, and this 100-day challenge has really provided us excellent foundation for us to really move forward with this process. We have so many more stakeholders at the table that are engaged and really excited to be a part of this work. We're also, additionally looking to identify additional dedicated resources. We really understood the value of having those youth dedicated services, and so really want to start looking at that as part of our continuum of care and really see how can we leverage to gain capacity in that aspect. In addition, we're very excited to have learned a couple weeks back that our partner agency at LifeWorks did get awarded some funding through the Continuum of Care grant through HUD to actually implement a rapid rehousing program for youth and young adults that are 18 to 24 years old. So we're really excited to step out and really try new innovative approaches to supporting youth who are experiencing homelessness, and really are excited to take this momentum and keep it moving. And I think that Aaron and I both testify that we both feel very excited and engaged and very pumped to take this to the next level. So thank you very much.
All right, now we are going to hear from Cleveland about the work in their community.
Hi, this is Kate Lodge. I'm the project director at A Place for Me in Cleveland, Ohio, and really excited and honored to be a part of this 100-day challenge and this chance to share some of our learnings with you. Next slide. And Danielle Green-Welch is listening on the phone and will be available when we do Q&A. She's with the Division of Children and Family Services, and they've been a key partner in our goals and helping us accomplish those goals. So grateful there. Next slide, please. Okay. So our 100-day goals, similar to what Austin is saying, I don't want to repeat too much of the process, but in gathering here in September, we set a very big goal of trying to house 100 literally homeless youth in 100 days. And I'm very excited that we have accomplished that goal, and as of The latest count, we have 110 youth that were housed through this process. Our sub-goal that we were encouraged to establish at the launch in Austin was to really make sure that no youth are aging out of foster care into homelessness, looking at how can we work with other systems so that we stop the flow into the homelessness system from agencies that might be able to really help with prevention. And so that those numbers under the 66 or after day 66 not having youth age out don't show up in the 110 count, but it's very important that we acknowledge that we did stop the flow and no youth did age out during this time into homelessness. So we housed 103 youth. We did it primarily through rapid rehousing and then many reunifications with family and friends. Rapid rehousing, we were lucky to have, as a community, have just received that and with a focus on youth and individuals. So we were really able to test out this new resource that was coming into our community. The way for the youth who are leaving foster care was really establishing kind of a rock solid plan to make sure that as we're using the review process before youth are about to be emancipated out of foster care, that we're making sure that they have a really good plan for homelessness. And then in many cases they were sent back to the caseworkers to redo the plan, that they didn't find that, and that's how that happened. Next slide, please. Okay, so what do we credit our success to? I think we'll find across communities, but this robust dynamic by name list was very important so that each youth that came into the coordinated engagement to be assessed for housing ended up on our list. So we started to have a known entity of who these young people were, and we were able to refine that by name list through the course of the challenge so that we have more demographic information about them, which will help us inform where we want to target next. We used 12 navigators. Those were people that are working outside of their job descriptions in different agencies to walk with youth who had been identified and were now on the way to housing. And so we learned a lot from them, pulling that team together for weekly meetings. We also created a resource guide to really figure out what are the resources that are going to help these young people and to put them right into the hands of those navigators and those young people right away so that we could really move them on towards housing. We were also able to do a fundraiser to create a fund for lodging kits, food cards, bus tickets. My whole philosophy was that we wanted that dignity of young people not ending up in an apartment with nothing but something that was able to give them a good start and ensure sustainability beyond the time that rapid rehousing, the voucher would end. And then expanding a pool of age-appropriate housing options. We had a whole housing kind of swim lane on our team, really identifying landlords who are willing to rent to young adults, having those good conversations with them, and we were able to increase the number of landlords who are willing to rent to youth. And then the enhanced processes with child welfare to identify upfront those at-risk youth that may be really facing homelessness, if not some prevention effort could happen right then. The other thing is that with GCFS, there had already been a number of youth who had been fast-tracked into public housing, and this allowed us to go back, identify how those young people were doing, and prevent exits and evictions. From that group, we did use some dollars that we pooled from both philanthropy and the public system to help pay some arrears on rents. That was really important there as a prevention goal. Next slide, please. Challenges and our strategies to address them. We realize that there aren't enough jobs for sustaining housing. We want to pull those jobs programs closer into the work of the group. And so we identified areas that we really want to link young people to. And so we had engaged the workforce initiative efforts. And I mean, right now, as people are well aware, that there's an effort to really focus on the disengaged youth in our kind of age range. And so we're really hoping to benefit from some of the new dollars and focus of the workforce initiative. There's never enough help for transportation assistance and just those concrete things of youth who may be not eligible for food stamps but are hungry. So we really need to be constantly thinking about those concrete needs that young people are having and making sure that accompanies this new housing plan, new housing resource that they're getting. One of the things we're looking at is because we're testing rapid housing, we want to see about the possibility of extending beyond the 4 months that we're giving them for the rapid rehousing subsidy. We want to definitely not exit those young people that are newly housed into homelessness from this new resource. So we have to redouble our efforts to make sure that they're connected and to look at our own system and how we're able to really extend any kind of assistance to them in those ways. Next slide, please. And we're continuing with some of these strategies and how to deal with these challenges. So we loved the navigator positions that were created from the different agencies that were able to really both back at the ranch able to look at the barriers within their own systems so that, let's say, for instance, a youth who was in the process of being housed had a problem with their food stamps. We had someone right there from the Jobs and Families program who could help us work through those barriers. So we are really thrilled that this worked, and we really want to find the resources to be able to keep that going. And then the role of philanthropy we've been thinking about for the pooled funds for those beds, lodging kits, essential items, which I really, again, as I said, it's about dignity for these young people as they get started. Building a sense of community, that resonated again this sustainability meeting that we've had here in Austin. People really want to keep these young people together, and knowing that the young people are going off to be housed and potentially isolated, so bringing them back together. So we don't have a drop-in center in Cuyahoga County, but we're planning on kind of creating a virtual, or even this Thursday, young people are coming back in, and we're bringing the food bank and the jobs folks there to meet with the young people that are interested. So we want to keep that community building going along as far as we can. And then tracking house, I think data is going to be essential to follow up, know how people are doing, and then seeing if rapid rehousing works. So I think we're going to have to continuously collect data and be able to really assess our own efforts so that we're not just doing it because it's a good idea, but it's got some data behind it. Next slide, please. So why this worked, I think some of these things have been said before, but I think that the permission from leaders in our community to give us this opportunity and to let us try and test a lot of the different things that we did. We couldn't have done it without that permission. I think Rapid Results calls it permissioning, and it's a very important component of allowing this to happen, because all those people sitting around the table, someone had to relieve them from other aspects of their job. So that was important. A sense of urgency. Now is the time to do this, and I think everyone felt that sense of urgency. People showed up and showed up and showed up time and time again on our team, and people took on what, usually you hear people say, my plate is full. I'm so tired of hearing my plate is full. No, there was never that conversation around the table, which was so refreshing, and I give my team a lot of credit for all of that. And peer support, we had bi-weekly meetings with Austin and LA and our coaches, hearing what they're trying, what other communities are doing was really a helpful resource to shore up our own leadership in the process. And then availability of our new rapid rehousing was a key resource that we had in our community. Next slide, please. So here in Austin this week, we've really, I was, again, really honored and pleased that the team was making commitments to going future, like we're not stopping meeting, which I'm sure Rapid Rehousing's Away Home America, everybody knew, this is going to continue to go on. We all know now, and the team even before coming here for the sustainability review said, hey, let's keep on meeting. We aren't ready to give up where we've come so far. So we know we have some work to do, some resources to identify to institutionalize those navigator positions that we like. We want to continue to test a way of pooling flexible funding from many sources to support rental assistance. We did have that issue going on about young people literally homeless, not literally homeless, and young people not knowing what door to enter. And so we want youth to be able to enter a door and be responded to as we are able to with a variety of resources. And then we really want to ramp up our diversion and family reunification to ensure stability for youth reconnecting to families and friends, since that was over 50% of the kind of resolution of homelessness was through family. How can we shore that up and make sure our assessments at the front end are identifying that as the potential for them and helping them along their way there too. So very excited to keep on moving with the work we have ahead of us. Slide, is that it?
That's it.
Okay,
That's
great.
it.
I think we're turning next to...
Yep, now we will hear from Los Angeles.
Great, so I think we're going to the next slide. It's not showing yet. Okay, great. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Angela Rosales, and I'm the Youth Systems Integration Manager for the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, which is our continuum of care lead in most of LA County. While I had the privilege and honor to be able to be one of the sponsors for our 100-day team, along with our county partner at the CEO's office, Raji Shivshankar and Tina Esadabadi, the two lovely ladies who you see on your screen, were actually the team leads during the 100-day challenge. And we're so grateful that I think we had a very diverse team that allowed us to really hear different perspectives and take on this work with different lenses. Next slide, please. So when we started the 100-day challenge, we committed to stably housing 237 young adults ages 16 to 24 up to their 25th birthday who are experiencing housing instability or homelessness, of whom 58 would would have the highest support service needs or be high acuity. As of December 31, we had actually housed 257 young people, 198 of whom went into permanent housing resources, and 59 of whom actually went into transitional housing and are on their way to securing permanent housing resources. During this time, we were also able to ramp up the coordinated entry system for young people to all 8 geographic service planning areas in LA County. Next slide, please. So throughout this challenge, I think the biggest takeaway for us was that we were able to lay a foundation for creating a coordinated community response to youth homelessness that we aim will be consistent across the county while being responsive to the diverse regional needs of our 8 geographic service planning areas. So over the last 100 days, we were able to assess over 400 young adults using a youth-specific assessment tool called the Next Step tool. We increased coordination across the county to get young people housed. We were able to really focus in on what the challenges were to getting them housed and planning implementation for what else can we be doing to better support young people in getting to housing and staying in housing so that they can actually work on their own personal goals. Collaboration among the youth providers, our sponsor agencies, which were the COC and the county, and other mainstream systems was also a key accomplishment, and I think is really just the beginning of the work that we need to continue. We were also able to expedite web-based trainings and tools. Specifically, we were able to expedite the solidification of an operations manual for our coordinated entry system and one of our main assessment tool training, which is HMIS 515, as lovingly labeled there. But this wouldn't have happened. This would have happened at a much slower pace had we not been in a 100-day challenge. Having this challenge actually made us see that we really needed to get these tools and resources quickly accessible if we wanted to have the impact across the county that we were aiming for. Next slide, please. So in a county as large as LA, 4,400 square miles, we were really seeing a lot of challenges, and I think one of the benefits of this challenge was actually seeing just what is the specific kind of work and support and tools and resources that are really needed to support young people to access housing and stay housed and be successful in housing. So we noticed that there are different staffing capacity within agencies, and how can we gain consistency so that young people are actually really receiving the highest quality supports and services. So one of the things that we started to implement, not just for the youth system, but across the county, was actually a training academy. And this training academy is countywide. It just started. There are two main agencies that are leading that work, and it's funded by the United Way. So we think that that's a really great start to making sure that case managers and frontline staff have the right kinds of training to deliver, to have the tools and be equipped to deliver high quality support services to individuals and families being housed, and in our case specifically young people. We also saw that, you know, we have insufficient housing resources, and I don't think that LA is unique in that. We have our most recent homeless count actually found over 7,000 young people experiencing literal homelessness, and when we looked at what the actual array of housing resources available for young people looked like, it wasn't even meeting, you know, half of that need. And so we were really finding, and we continue to strive to find ways to increase the capacity, but also the array of different housing resources to meet the diverse needs of young people. So we applied for the HUD Youth Homelessness Demonstration Project, NOFA, but our city and county were also really proactive and sensing this or seeing this need not just for homeless youth, but all individuals and families experiencing homelessness. So actually a measure passed recently in the November ballot, Measure HHH, that is actually creating quite a significant amount of funding to fund permanent supportive housing resources for individuals and families experiencing homelessness. We're also getting ready to see a county-specific sales tax go in the, I believe, the March special election to create funding that would specifically go to support services for individuals and families experiencing homelessness, so that there are both the support services to go with the housing resources. So we're really hoping that our community will also see that need. Otherwise, a lot of the work has really been around, you know, getting different funders together, reallocating resources, and trying to find as many avenues for increasing housing resources for our young people. And then another key challenge was just the cross-system buy-in, both internally and externally. Coordinated entry is really moving our communities and our agencies to think of the work differently. And to do that has really taken a lot of support, both with individual agencies, but also with our mainstream system partners, to better understand how we can partner and truly create a coordinated response to youth homelessness. So some of our strategies are specific to testing and experimenting and trying different ways that we can work with child welfare and probation and other systems that are interfacing with young people, so that we're meeting their needs at the right time, and that there's coordination and alignment. We also plan to create a policy and operations team that would be a mixture of both our public systems as well as our key community partners, to continuously be seeking ways to improve the system and the supports for young people. So we really hope that that will help to create ongoing spaces for this continuous quality improvement. Next slide, please. So why did the 100-Day Challenge work? You know, as Austin and as Cleveland said, it created an urgency that we just didn't have prior to that. It created an urgency, it created a focus in our community to want to work on youth homelessness and really take it seriously, you know, really put resources to it. So it was also pretty fortuitous for us that we had new programmatic funding that aligned with the kickoff of the 100-Day Challenge. So it allowed us to test and be creative, but also train together and build capacity together, and not just with our youth providers, but also with our single adult providers who are getting who are some of our key partners in this work. Our city and county recently released strategic plans to end homelessness. So in LA, we kind of had this convergence of a lot of different public partners and community partners wanting to do this work. So I think this challenge also came at the right time. We were able to increase public and private partners at the table. As I mentioned, like really making sure that our adult partners were at the table, and really having a consistent intersectoral team of regional coordinators, which are from community-based organizations, our COC, and our city and county partners to move the work forward. And throughout the challenge, we were trying to keep an eye on how do we increase youth engagement, and that's an area that we want to continue to work on. Next slide. So as we move forward, our next steps and the things that we know we're going to have to be doing is refining those tools and protocols. We're a big county, but we want to make sure that there's consistency in how we're doing the work while also meeting the specific regional diverse needs in our county. Improving communication and unified messaging, so really having good messaging around what the system is, what this work looks like, what the process looks like for young people to access these housing resources. Building capacity and increased funding, thoughtful, intentional, and consistent youth engagement from the beginning. We've just started to create our first youth advisory, and we're really excited that we'll have a consistent group of young people to inform the work, all of it, all of the work, from beginning, throughout, and ongoing. We want to continue to develop and test youth CES protocols with our larger mainstream systems. We want to make sure that we're celebrating and caring for our regional coordinators who are doing this work. They have taken on the leadership in each of the eight service planning areas to implement this coordinated community response, and we want to make sure that they're getting the support that they need to do and move this work forward. And then, of course, we need to continue to increase our housing resources. We definitely do not have enough, and I think that that is an area where we can also test different kinds of interventions that we can hopefully share and scale up and improve throughout the way. So this has been an incredible learning experience, and we can't wait to keep moving it forward.
All right, now that we've heard from the communities, we're going to turn it over to some of the funders that have been involved in this. And first, we're going to hear from a local funder in Cleveland, Angela, who is with Sisters of Charity. So, Angela, take it away.
Thanks, Jennifer, and thank you to everyone on the call for the opportunity to be a part of the webinar and to share the role of the Sisters of Charity Foundation of Cleveland in our community's 100-Day Challenge. It's really been an incredible journey, and it's an honor to be a part of this and to learn from the good work in Austin and LA as well. So thanks for sharing, and thanks for the opportunity. I just wanted to share a little bit of background on the Sisters of Charity Foundation to help understand sort of our approach to our work in the community, and also some of the foundation and the groundwork that was in place at the time that Cleveland took on the 100-Day Challenge. So really from our inception, the Sisters of Charity Foundation of Cleveland has had a strategic priority to end homelessness in Cuyahoga County, which is the county in Cleveland. And we've really approached our work by helping to convene strong community collaborations, including public system leadership, and using our grant dollars very strategically to invest in intermediary organizations to guide the work of the collaboration toward a shared goal. We've had success doing this to address chronic homelessness in our community, and more recently, the work around youth homelessness. And like many of the other funders that are on the call, we've taken a very engaged approach. So in addition to our financial investments, we've really tried to sit at the table to be a contributing member of those collaborations, to learn, to hear the voices of the providers as well as the youth beneficiaries of this work, and to help shape the effort going forward. And that's really allowed us, when possible, to try to connect our local work and our local initiatives to end homelessness to national initiatives, so that we can ensure that our local efforts in Cuyahoga County are informed by national dialogue, and that we are also contributing to that dialogue as well. And one example of this was our foundation's engagement of the Anne E. Casey Foundation's Jim Casey Youth Opportunities Initiative in 2013. Some of you are familiar with the Jim Casey Initiative, but that initiative really works across the country to improve outcomes for young people aging out of foster care, one of those outcomes being stable housing. And so our engagement of the Jim Casey Youth Opportunities Initiative was really instrumental from the beginning of this work in bringing the child welfare system to the table, with a commitment to better planning to prevent homelessness for youth aging out of foster care. And so with support from the Jim Casey Initiative and the Sisters of Charity Foundation, we built a collaboration of public and private partners organized under the initiative called A Place for Me, which Kate Lodge is the director of. You heard from her earlier. And that is our local initiative, which has been in place since January of 2014 to prevent and end youth homelessness in Cuyahoga County. Jennifer, you can advance the slide. Just to highlight that in the summer of 2015, A Place for Me and its many partners issued a strategic plan to prevent and end youth homelessness. This plan was developed over about a 15-month. I'm hearing a bad echo. Okay. The plan was developed over a 15-month planning effort and really engaged more than 50 public and private partners in this effort. You can advance, Jennifer, just to give you a sense of the goals of the strategic plan. And so we had this in place. This is just a little bit of the local context that was already in place, and the work that the foundation had done prior to the 100-Day Challenge, and the work that had been led by A Place for Me and our public system representatives and so many partners who have come around the table to put this groundwork in place at the time that we learned about the 100-Day Challenge as an opportunity. And so given the foundation's involvement in Funders Together and the role of philanthropy in convening Away Home America, we learned about this incredible opportunity to participate in a 100-Day Challenge, and we knew that we really wanted to secure it for our community and bring that opportunity here. You can advance forward, Jennifer. So we utilize the existing leadership structure of A Place for Me to sort of nimbly organize ourselves, develop our ideas for a potential challenge goal, and to submit our community's interest in participating back in June of last year when Away Home America announced the 100-Day Challenge opportunities. The foundation really laid a lot of the groundwork in helping to articulate why Cleveland, why now, and how we could really benefit from the 100-Day Challenge to accelerate the progress that was already being made in our community. The other thing that the foundation did was, because the 100-Day Challenge came with really invaluable technical assistance and support from the Rapid Results Institute and Away Home America, but no funding, the foundation did make a series of grants at the start of the 100-Day Challenge to really support its implementation in our community. And those grants, which began implementation during the 100 days and will continue now that the 100 days are over, are really focused on ensuring the stability of the young adults who are housed through the 100-Day Challenge in Cuyahoga County. So we were able to use our grant resources and align them to this incredible opportunity that was before our community last fall, to really make sure that we are ensuring stability for the young adults housed through the challenge. So we funded case management services and rental assistance to help augment the federal rapid rehousing dollars for youth housed through the challenge. I know Kate mentioned that many of the young people who were housed through the 100-Day Challenge were supported with rapid rehousing dollars, and we invested our private philanthropic dollars to help augment those federal resources. We also made a small grant to help support lodging kits. Again, you know, Kate really talked about the importance of dignity and helping young people to connect to housing, but then once they're there, ensuring that they have all of the things that they need to set up a household. And so we made a small grant to help support lodging kits for young adults. And then in addition to our grant support and really true to our engaged approach, throughout the 100 days, the foundation sat on the challenge team as a team member and really supported efforts to advance a learning and communications agenda to ensure that all of our local partners and that the broader community were informed of what was happening with the challenge. And so supporting that communications agenda, as many of you know, is a really key role for philanthropy. And those efforts really garnered quite a bit of media attention that resulted in a really nice halo effect for the entire initiative of A Place for Me and just elevated our community's work around preventing and ending youth homelessness. It was also really critical in lifting up the many different partners who were around the table, which proved essential for bringing and keeping partners engaged in the effort. We're also, and Kate touched on this too, we really do believe that those communications efforts to build broad awareness of the 100-day challenge really resulted in a lot of financial support and donations from the community. We developed a fund of more than $16,000 just through the 100-day challenge to support beds and lodging kits for young adults moving into housing through the challenge. There was an additional grant from our local alcohol, drug addiction, and mental health services board, which also provides the lodging and bedding for young people through the challenge. And also part of our communications effort, later this month, the foundation is sponsoring a community convening, which we hope will be attended by about 120 local stakeholders in our community to celebrate the gains that we've made through the 100 days, but to really drum up that support and the momentum for continuing in the effort to end homelessness, youth homelessness in Cuyahoga County by 2020. So I'll just end, and Jennifer, you can advance. These are just pictures of our team doing the great work that they've done and with the support that they've gotten from the Rapid Results Institute and Away Home America. And at the top you see here our youth leaders who have been amazing. You know, there's a whole youth engagement board that's put in place through the work of A Place for Me. And so it's just been great to tap their expertise and engage them in this effort. And then the last slide, and the last point that I'll just make about the work of the Sisters of Charity Foundation here to support this effort has really been the role of engaging our peers, our local funding colleagues, both our private peers, private philanthropic peers, as well as the public systems, to really learn about the work that we're doing to prevent and end youth homelessness in Cuyahoga County, and to think about how we can align our funding to support the collective initiative, the work to really make sure that we're working in the same direction toward that goal of ending youth homelessness by 2020. And so moving forward at the sustainability review, there was a lot of work in developing proposals for how we can keep this work moving forward. And so we want to really understand what those proposals look like, what some of the funding needs associated with those proposals are, and really being a champion from the private philanthropic sector to our peers to really say, how can we invest? How can we work together as foundations and philanthropists in our community to support this effort? There's been great success. I mean, we have tangible and quantitative gains that were made through the 100 days, and I think that speaks to funders. So with the support that we've gotten through the Rapid Results Institute and the Way Home America, how can we continue this work moving forward and ensure that some of our local philanthropy is stepping up and also our public systems too to support this effort moving forward. So that's just a little bit about how we've been involved in this effort. Thanks for the opportunity to share.
Thanks, Angela. So now we're going to hear from Amy Hendricken. Amy is with the Melville Charitable Trust and has been involved with Away Home America and with these 100-day challenges on the national level.
Hello, everybody. Can you see me? Hello from Boston, and I just want to take a moment to just say, wow, this has been, congratulations Austin, Cleveland, LA for exceeding your goals and really exceeding expectation. This is, as a funder of this effort, we couldn't be more happy at the results. And of course, we want to thank Rapid Results Institute, Away Home America, National Alliance to End Homelessness, and National Youth Forum on Homelessness for all the work that has gone into this. As a funder, we joined with other private funding partners to fund this at a national level, the Rakes Foundation, Casey Family Programs, and it really couldn't have been done without the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. They contributed funding and time and engagement to get the project off the ground in each of these cities, and it's really been amazing. And the exciting part of having HHS engaged too was they were really able to help ensure that local child welfare agencies had some incentive to participate as well. So this has just been amazing work, amazing collaborative effort that I think is going to have some really fascinating national implications, and I'm blown away, actually. So I'm almost speechless. But the goal for us was at the Melville Charitable Trust, we aim to end homelessness for all populations. Youth homelessness is a sort of a newer focused area, and there's a lot to learn. And we really saw 100-day challenges as a critical place to learn more about how community response can impact and lay the groundwork for ending youth homelessness across the country. So this was like a grand experiment, and it's really been unbelievable. I can just reiterate what folks were saying. The goals of this were to stimulate innovation, to create intense collaboration between partners that may not always work together, and also to be able to allow the partners to collaborate and experiment and change. And if something's not working, change and do something different. I think the Rapid Results Institute and their approach really facilitates that and makes it a process that people feel heard. They feel like their input is important, and they're able to make decisions to really get to the goal that they're aiming for. So this has been a great process, and I think I wanted to just highlight as funders something that we've learned from the terrific results that we've had. And I think everyone has stated this. Each city stated it was the power of bringing folks together around a common, clear goal with a short time frame. I think there's something about having a public deadline that really makes a big difference. I think that everybody spoke to that, and it is really true. We just saw the amount of work that folks on the ground were doing, coming to meetings weekly. As I think it was Kate said, people never said, we don't have time to do this, this isn't in my job description. Everybody was working together, they had a focused goal, and that's a really great model for solving a problem like this and for really getting folks to work together in new ways. This kind of urgency also creates creativity and flexibility and new ways to engage and partner. I feel like people kind of come together folks are meeting at the same level, and everyone's kind of aiming at the same goal. I think for funders, you can see, I was listening, I could hear a lot of different ways that funders can participate. Of course, you can help participate in funding by funding the coaching services of the Rapid Results Institute, funding Away Home America, and helping to bring the dissemination of all these lessons together. But also there's just frankly things on the ground, pooled funds for furniture, for food cards, I heard, for rent arrears, case management that Angela was just speaking about, creating a training academy like they did in Los Angeles that United Way is funding. There are so many different ways for funders to get engaged at the community level, and there's so many gaps in funding for this population that I was really surprised at how many different things are popping up through this 100-day challenge process. Another thing that actually through the funding for the national funding for this project provided, the private funders were able to fund travel. I think that was a really neat part of this project, so that Austin, Cleveland, Los Angeles could actually come together in one place. They were able to meet together in September in Austin, and then again, of course, this week in Austin, and share stories, learn from each other, and really kind of build some momentum, some national momentum around this issue. So often private philanthropy has the flexibility to support things like that kind of travel expenses that might not come supporting a project at this level. Another thing I thought was really fascinating about this process is the press attention that it got at the launch, and I'm hoping there's going to be a lot of press attention too at these amazing results that each city has. But this was a story that seemed to really grab people's attention at the local level. The LA Times actually did a story about the 100-Day Challenge, and I know there was heavy coverage in Austin at the launch and also in Cleveland. I know all the groups were working very hard to get the press attention and to engage the communities, but I think it shows that youth homelessness is a real hook for folks and for press and for the community. When people hear the success that we've had, I think it's going to even, the possibilities are limitless. Just in general, I just wanted to briefly reiterate some of the lessons that folks seem to have learned, that the things that were the same across all the communities. When we selected the communities, it was a pretty competitive process. Austin and Cleveland and LA were really at the top, and they were great, but another good part about them was that they were very different communities. So I felt like if we can find commonalities across these different types of communities with different numbers of homeless youth, different types of resources available, and different existing relationships between the systems, we could really raise up those lessons and bring them to the national stage and start to inform policy and practice at the national level. Because the dream is to do this in every community. So hopefully that will be the next step. But I think some of the commonalities between all of these groups, things that really kind of resonate, was each community had a by name list and held coordinated case management meetings with staff from different agencies. I think this was also very similar in the work that Rapid Results Institute did with veterans and chronic homelessness populations when they did 100-day challenges for those populations. Having those by name lists is critical, and it's critical for the youth population as well. There was also a huge focus on solutions that support stable and safe housing. We heard about rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, shared housing, people going back with their families. Landlord engagement was a key part of pretty much everyone's strategies, and housing was a key to all of the success that these cities had. Each community developed stronger relationships with relevant systems. Child welfare, public school systems were engaged in different ways, and I think Los Angeles had some interesting engagement with probation and the Office of Public Defender. So there's the typical folks that people always work with, but I think the excitement and the enthusiasm around 100-day challenges might bring some new folks to the table as well. And of course, each community had very deliberate and meaningful youth engagement from youth navigators, youth advisory boards. Youth came to Austin both times. Youth were deeply engaged in all this work, and I think that's going to be a really important element of this work going forward. And that's a value of Away Home America. I know it's a value of Rapid Results Institute, and it really carried through the work in each of these communities, and I think it's just an amazing piece of this work that we'll be able to share nationally and as we learn more. So as I sort of indicated, we're anticipating some exciting opportunities to expand this work to some other communities in the U.S., and I just can't thank Austin, Cleveland, and LA enough for the work that you've done. To exceed these goals is amazing. So thank you very much. I think there's a lot of exciting things to come, and everyone stay tuned.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amanda Andieri. I'm the CEO of Funders Together to End Homelessness, live from Austin. And just so excited over the last 2 days, the energy that has been happening by these three communities and our public and private partners coming together around the room to learn, to listen, and we hope now to act. So we always say in philanthropy that we play a leadership role in innovation, leveraging public resources, and convening leaders from all sectors. And we saw this all during the 100-Day Challenge. And many of you have asked us, as Funders Together to End Homelessness, how do I get involved? What's next? What's my role in my community? And so Megan and some others are going to talk about opportunities for your community to get involved and for us to pull together as philanthropy to help in our local community or at the national level. Megan?
Thanks, Amanda. I think Amy gave a really great preview to this.
So I would love to just follow up and reiterate a little bit of what Amy said. And one thing that you maybe can't see, but there is tremendous energy in this room and among all of us having gone through this launch workshop together and now the sustainability review, as Amanda said. So it's a really exciting day here, and I wish all of that could convey over the screen, but it's a little difficult to do that. So let me share a little bit about what is next. Away Home America anticipates additional 100-day challenges in 2017. So the best thing to do, and next slide please whenever you get a moment, is to sign up for the social media and mailing list at awayhomeamerica.org to learn how your community can be engaged as we have more information. Thank you very much. So there's our contact information on the screen there. Hopefully many of you are already a part of our email newsletter and social sites. 2017 will be a tipping point year in our work to end youth homelessness. As we learn from, I hope, many more 100-day challenge sites across the country. As Amy said, we want to do a 100-day challenge in every single community across the country, but we certainly will have lots to learn there in 2017. We will also look across innovation in the 10 HUD youth demonstration sites, which should be announced here imminently, all of which will be receiving rich technical assistance and doing tremendous work together. As we also continue to appreciate the strong partnership between HHS and HUD. One thing, both partners from HHS and HUD were present in the sustainability review, and really tremendous to see their support and partnership and continued interest in what's happening here, and really encouragement of the work. And as we, as Away Home America, all of the partners that make up this collaborative effort, continue to frame the issue of youth homelessness for the incoming administration and Congress, all of that presents I think what will be a tipping point year in 2017. We will work to be the megaphone, the voice of the movement, lifting up what is catalytic across these communities. Really never have we seen, I think, a moment like that. So as Amy started to say, I want to just reiterate a couple of opportunities for philanthropy. One is that philanthropy certainly can look for opportunities that Away Home America will have the ability to announce, we hope, at some point early this year. To launch additional 100-day challenges, but there's no reason that you need to wait for that. Philanthropy could also choose to get started now and fund a challenge in your community now. You could also encourage partners in your community to apply when opportunities present themselves and to support your community if they are selected to do a challenge or if you fund partners in your community to do that challenge. So lots of roles for philanthropy really to keep this innovation going in the local community. And looking forward to any question and answer, and of course available on the contact information there on the screen.
Okay. So we have about 20 minutes left for questions. So I am going to ask that if you have a question, start by stating your name and your organization, and then identifying who your question's for. We have quite a few people here, and we just want to make sure that they're at a microphone so they can answer. So you are all on mute right now, so if you have a question, you will need to unmute yourself or go ahead and put it in the chat box. All right, let's start out with a question for Angela. Angela, if someone is interested, if someone is interested in engaging other local funders in their community around this idea, what would you recommend? How can we energize and engage other local funders?
I think one of the things that we did was we engaged our local funders from the very beginning. So our engagement of local funders has really been a parallel process to the development of the Place for Me initiative. So really when the initiative started, we were at that same time really starting to build engagement of our local philanthropic partners to really understand the work as it was evolving, and you know, kind of just bringing information and just starting to raise awareness of the issue of youth homelessness in our community and really the importance of really working together. So we were, you know, at the same time that we were building this collaborative initiative of many different providers and system leaders around this issue of youth homelessness, we wanted our funders to also be thinking about how we could collaborate as funders to support that effort. So I would say early engagement and frequent engagement to keep people kind of abreast of the issue. And I think that our communication support to the 100-day challenge really aided us there too, because we were able to continually keep our local funders involved and up to date on what was happening as the work was really taking place in real time.
Thank you, Angela. Next question. All right, so one question that we have got that we have some more information for is, what does this cost? There are going to be some opportunities like this 100-day challenge, but if you want to do this in your community, what are you looking at as far as costs? And so Lauren, if you can go to the next slide. So these are some estimated costs. And some things that we wanted to point out are, one, that this is really meant to be done as a cohort, so more than one community. So if you want to do it in your community, it's really best if there are other communities that are also interested in doing it. And as you can see from this, the cost does go down the more communities that are doing it. So if you can get 2 other communities involved or 4 other communities involved, not only is it going to make your experience better, it's also going to cut down the costs for each community. All right, and we're going to go back to Megan for a little comment there.
This is Megan with Away Home America. I just want to add to that and really underscore that I think the cohort experience of the communities was incredibly powerful, both learning from one another, normalizing some of the challenges that folks were experiencing, being inspired through one another. So can't emphasize enough that a cohort of communities experiencing different things but working side by side, I think, is part of the magic of this experience.
All right, and a question from Los Angeles. Megan, can you mute yourself? Sorry. Los Angeles, is the youth coordinated entry system linked with the adult coordinated assessment?
Yes, it is, and that is something that we're continuing to work on. Prior to having a coordinated entry system for young people, it was very binary. You're either being served as a single adult in the CES for single adults or as a family in CES for families. So now that all of the coordinated entry systems are being managed in partnership with the continuum of care and with our community partners, there's a place where we're actually talking about integration and alignment across systems. Where are there opportunities for leveraging similar types of roles, like housing location? Can housing location just be done for any population? And so therefore, can we actually consolidate the resources in that area? So yes, the systems are linked, and we're striving to better align them every day.
Great. Now the next question is, for those of you that have a by name list, who has access to that list? And we're going to let Kate from Cleveland go first.
Hey.
I'm sorry.
All right. Good question. We were able to, it's housed at Frontline Service that is already managing the coordinated engagement for our community. So they had the list, and one of the things that was an issue was then the sharing. I mean, they didn't have any problem sharing, but making it transparent and having all sorts of partners wanting to say, oh, what about this? What about that? Are we tracking this? Do we know that? So it caused us to be really collaborative around it, but they held the list and do hold the list.
Anyone else want to share? Austin? Go ahead.
Okay, great. So this is Nikki from Austin. We actually have a open and shared release of information that's tied to our coordinated entry system and our HMIS system. Our weekly by name list is actually populated and is run through reports through HMIS. So the partners that are able to participate in that community collaborative staffing would be included on that release of information. And so for any additional partners that might not yet be a part of that ROI, we engage with them and ensure that we have them included in that. So it's been that was a huge piece of us really implementing our coordinated entry system, is to ensure that we could have this ability to share information in a safe way.
Great. Any other questions? If you're having trouble speaking, again, there's a question box, or if you want to raise your hand, we can make sure that you're unmuted. All right, we have a few more minutes, so I am going to open it back up to the communities and just ask, is there anything that happened during these 2 days after you put your slides together and your presentations together that you really thought was something that our members should know? And we'll start with Austin.
Well, I think that we really had an opportunity to reflect and really refine what are the next tangible steps for us to really scale up this effort. I think that that has been the greatest takeaway of the sustainability review. In addition, I think that hearing from the other two communities, we were able to really have more, I think, succinct and clear questions of what to ask of one another and really learn from one another. And I think that was a really beneficial aspect of having this kind of cohort review. So really it's you know, for us really distilling the learning that we've had over the past 100 days and how to move this forward with the momentum of ending youth homelessness.
Great. LA.
I completely agree with that, and would add that I think the other piece that these last 2 days gave us a chance to think about was how do we increase the opportunities for authentic, consistent, and thoughtful youth engagement throughout the process, throughout the system, throughout our programs, so that everything we're doing is really being driven by the voices of young people who are going to be experiencing these systems, these programs.
Great. And last but not least, we have Cleveland.
Kate in Cleveland. I echo what my partners in the other communities have said. Youth engagement is very important, and I heard from our team, let's have more. We had 2 young people really participating closely with us, but let's expand that going forward. We have a youth council that's been already set up, but really deepening their relationship to the COC and our team as we go forward. So that's really important. And then the other thing is this, that we really refined the proposals that we want to make to our leaders going back. So the system engagement and keeping our system leaders engaged, I feel like we're going back armed with some pretty good proposals that we want to make, and we have an opportunity through the last step of the rapid results is another meeting with leaders. And so combined with that symposium that Angela spoke of earlier, and then the next day we can take some concrete proposals back to them, what we want.
Okay, last call for questions. All right, we are going to turn it to Amanda really quick for some last comments.
I know Amy touched on this in terms of raising the public visibility and awareness of ending youth homelessness and the ability for public and private partnerships to work together, but I just want to emphasize that we've been talking over the last 2 days about the opportunity this creates for philanthropy to bring sectors together, especially our leaders in Congress and in the new administration, to demonstrate what it looks like to work on the ground with public-private partnerships, in partnership with philanthropy, and show that with the right resources, with a strategy, and really dedicating efforts and policies that we can move the needle and homelessness, and particularly end youth homelessness. So going forward, we know that we'll be working with Away Home America as funders together to continue to leverage those opportunities to educate those who are making policy decisions that will further our work to end youth homelessness.
All right, if there are no more questions, we want to thank everyone for joining this webinar. Thank you for putting up with a few technology glitches here in Austin. We want to say a big thank you to our speakers who stuck around after 2 long days to share their learnings and their experience with you. And we just want to give a few reminders as Funders Together. Funders Together is launching a youth network. We just finished a 2-year community of practice called Foundations for Youth Success. So those funders are now continuing to learn and inviting you, if you are not a part of that group, to join them. This group will be working closely with Away Home America. We'll keep you updated on the 100-day challenges moving forward and a lot of other opportunities for philanthropy. Another thing we want to highlight is that Sisters of Charity, Angela, you heard from earlier, their work is being highlighted this month on our website. They are our featured member profile of the month. So if you go to our website, funderstogether.org, you can see that information there and read a little bit more about their work. Lastly, a recording of this webinar will be available on our website probably tomorrow. So we encourage you to, if you want to listen again, you can, but to share it with your funder colleagues and to contact us if you have any questions or if you're interested in starting a 100-day challenge in your community. So thank you all again and have a great day.